Hi everybody, this is Jack R. and Recontra 1, and I'm doing this video in celebration of the 2700th video, which this is. How do you like my t-shirt? It's in the immortal words of Sheldon Cooper, PhD. I'm not insane, my mother had me tested, from the Big Bang Theory, so I really do like that show. At any rate, I like to wear interesting t-shirts, and this certainly ranks right up there. In fact, I was at a car show today, and a couple of people remarked about the shirt, and they thought it was cool, and so on. But at any rate, I digress. The current statistics for the channel, which I'm happy to say, are very, very good. I have over 5,500,000 views and 3885 subscribers, so I'm getting fairly close to 4,000 subscribers, and that's good. If I ever get to 10,000 subscribers, you get a plaque from YouTube for that, so who knows, maybe at some point we'll get there. And I still find cars. That's the good thing. I don't think there's been any fall off or tremendous repetition. I might get different, same model car, but different examples. And I like that. I like to get different cars and not your usual car, so that's what I strive for at any rate. And as always, I'm very happy with my subscribers. They always, and it's very helpful for them to provide information on the car that I just videoed, because I certainly don't have all the answers, and I'm not familiar with all the cars that were made. So, for example, what does it take to make a car in SS for specific years? And some of these cars have very little change over the years. So, certainly people who had the cars, they know the differences, and I certainly welcome comments that help to make the channel correct. So today I thought I would describe a little bit the next car in my career of owning cars, and that was a 1990 Mercury Coupe. It was a very nice car. It was a premium selection of Cougar at the time. It was white, and it had a white quarter vinyl top. Now, that quarter vinyl top was kind of a liability because it had a tendency to mar and show wear. And fortunately, there was no rust underneath it, or at least no detectable rust. Eventually, I had that top dyed so that it was dyed black, and that made it look much more presentable. But you don't often find places that will dye a vinyl top. But I was fortunate that I could arrange that. The car was a nice car. It had a V6. They had the 302 V8, the 5-liter, in the preceding Cougars. Then they made a change in body style, and they just had the V6. Eventually, they got the 4.6-liter V8 they put in there. But in the meantime, it was just a 6-cylinder. And that's what I had. And it was good enough for my purposes. It worked fine. It was smooth and performed well, I thought. The interior was exceptional. Now, this car had been in the hands of a spinster, I guess you would say, in the old terminology. She had passed on, and the Ford Lincoln Mercury place bought this car as part of her estate. So it had low mileage, and the interior was of velour, red velour, and very, very nicely kept up. I think there were a couple little mars in it, but nothing of any substance. Very, very nice upholstery, and it remained that way. Wore very well, wore like iron. It was very well put together. The car itself has some interesting situations. The first one was one that you would expect of a car that was aging, and that was the lenses in front were getting cloudy, which is, again, a typical situation. I priced new ones from Ford. Forget it. It was too expensive. And I think I tried polishing them out, which is a little bit better, but nothing like a really a new lens. So anyway, I put up with that. It wasn't too bad. It was okay. And another situation with the car was the windows in the driver and passenger door. Now they of course were power windows, but if you can picture the Thunderbird and Cougar of that vintage, they were very large windows, and I mean very large. And believe it or not, they were held in that track by only a couple points, and they had a tendency to break loose from those anchorings, and so the window would become detached. So it was kind of stuck in the middle, and you have to raise it with your hands on the pane, raising it up and down in the channel. It was not good. So at any rate, I went to a glass shop, and they helped correct the situation because they had fasteners that held that window, that really large window, in place, and that was good. The other situation was the power window motors themselves had a limited lifespan. And I think part of it is because that window was so big. I mean, that was a tremendous load for that motor to push up and down. So I got expert at removing and replacing the motor, especially on the driver's side, but I also had passenger side issue too, with a rebuilt one. And fortunately, the place where I got it had a lifetime warranty, and believe me, I used it. So after a couple of years, the new one would wear out, or the rebuilt one would wear out, and I would take it out and march off to the department or the parts store and ask for a new one, and there was never a problem. They'd give me a new one. So I did that a few times. And in addition, there were problems with the, I'm trying to think now on my feet here. There were problems with the, like a noise in the front end. Now I had them investigate that, and they never found anything. It was, you would hear it when you went over a bump. And so we never figured out what that was. It didn't affect the handling or anything else. So that evidently wasn't a serious problem. Another issue I had with it was, and this is of my own making, I had, of course, the floor mats that came with the car, but then, of course, I have to have another floor mat on top of that. Well, one day I noticed that the accelerator seemed to be stuck. Well, I could unstick it, no problem, but I happened to be near the garage, so I had them checked, and sure enough, the extra floor mat had worked its way near the accelerator pedal and caused the situation. Now, that could have been very bad. Talk about your unintended acceleration. That could have been cause of an accident. So I made sure that that mat was out of there, and a properly secured mat was in its place. So that's an important safety tip in case you needed to know about that. Take notice. Any mat that's on your driver's side needs to be secured to the floor so it doesn't creep up under the accelerator and cause a problem with a stuck accelerator pedal. And that really is about it for the, oh yeah, one final thing. And one thing that kind of made me think it may be time to trade was I noticed that there was a very slight diminution in the fluid in the reservoir for the cooling system. Not all that much, but it was going down a little bit, and it wasn't leaking anywhere that I could see. So I suspected that there might be a slight cylinder head leak, and it might be leaking into the cylinders. So, you know, that's not a good thing. And so it's probably not a bad idea to, unless you're willing to undergo, exploratory surgery and remove the cylinder heads and check the gaskets and so forth, to me it wasn't worth that, and so I traded at that point. So I will leave a mystery as to what I traded it for until the 2800 video. Maybe I'll tell you a little bit earlier. I don't know. We'll see how that works out. But as usual, I want to thank you for your patronage. You really make the channel what it is. And it's very heartening to me that you have stood by me all these years, really, and I continue to be devoted to making more videos and keeping you entertained. Thanks so much.